Welcome back to Project Command. I'm Captain Duke Cuneo. We're here live at FDIC this week, where we've been for the last several days. We've got another exciting episode with you with one of my actual best friends in the world, Nate Smith. He's the president of Brindlee Mountain Fire Apparatus, and I think he's going to add a lot of value for you guys, so we're excited for you to take a listen. Welcome on. Thanks for doing this.
I'm pumped to be here, man. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, so you're here at FDIC. I think you told me earlier maybe this is your 9th time here. You're the president of Brindlee Mountain Fire Apparatus. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you came to the fire industry, and about your business.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so Brindlee Mountain Fire, we buy, sell, fix, refurbish fire trucks all over North America. And my introduction 9 years ago to FDIC, I walked the entire floor. I was absolutely blown away. I knew nobody. I felt like I was adding no value to anybody's experience at the time. But my introduction into the fire service in general, I was in management consulting for 10 years, and I had a little bit of background in project management while I was doing management consulting. And my family and I had moved from Washington, D.C. To North Alabama in Huntsville. And I went to church with a guy named James Wessel. He actually founded the business. And one day in the parking lot, James came up to me and said, "Hey, someone I know, love, and trust said I needed to get connected with you and would like for you to come work for me at Brindlee Mountain." Wow. I said, "Sir, that sounds great. I appreciate it." I knew he was a well-respected guy in the community. And I said, "Well, what do you do?" He said, "I'm a used fire truck salesman." And I was like, "I don't think that's what we're talking about out here." So he was actually being tongue-in-cheek. He was a great guy, and the business was already doing really well at that time period. And so I came in and just quickly realized the culture and the people that he had surrounded himself with and that were a part of Brindlee Mountain were very unique. And it was an opportunity for me to align who I was in my heart and my mind, with my family, with my faith, and bring skills that I had learned in the marketplace, that I had learned in education, and apply them to an industry. And so I came to work from Brindlee Mountain not knowing anything about fire trucks. I kind of traded in a suit and tie every day for a little more blue-collar work, and just fell in love with our people. Quickly and easily fell in love with the industry and the fire service in general. So year one, I was kind of baptized into FDIC, knew nobody. It was probably about year 3 where I knew about 3 or 4 people. And I thought, okay, this is a start. And now, 9 years in, it's just an opportunity to come and see a lot of friends, a lot of relationships that we've built, and honestly get to add value to what a lot of people are doing out there and help solve problems. And I have just loved it. And I've been able to bring a lot of people along with me this year. I think we've got about 40 people here at the show. And it's just a very unique show in this industry. But it's also unique for other industries. This is a very culturally unique opportunity to be here in Indianapolis. Kind of all started around instructors. I mean, this is an instructor's course. This is what this was built around. So there's a lot of training going on. There's a lot of vendors, and it's just it's so much fun. Much fun to be a part of. So I can't really imagine being in a different industry now, and even though I didn't come through it in firefighting, came through it really through consulting.
Yeah, so that's really fascinating, and we've had a very similar experience at FDIC this year. This is Peter and I's first time here. We're doing the Project Command thing here, but it's been so incredible just to meet people and get to reach out and see some old friends, see people from other places that we'd know from the fire service. So for a little bit of a background story, Nate and I have been friends since college, so we've known each other for 25 years now, and it's pretty amazing because Nate, I remember the day you told me that you were going to work for a fire truck company, and I thought, what? Because I had already started.
You know nothing about fire
trucks.
That was accurate.
Yeah, I had started my career in the fire service at that point. I was a young firefighter still, but yeah, you told me that. I was like, this is the most random happenstance thing possible. But hearing you talk about the culture at Brindlee Mountain and how great of a fit it was for you, really to me is just to use a term like providential, like like you were in the right spot to make a tremendous difference, not only in your company, but I think just across the industry. And so it's really amazing that you're able to do that and that you've had so much success. So pivoting to that, tell me a little bit about how the business is going. Like, how many fire trucks are you moving a year and all that?
Sure. So, I really appreciate that. Duke and I have been friends for a very long time. He knows where all my bodies are buried. I had a friend tell me recently, you can either choose to be impressive or you can choose to be known. And for much of my career, I was choosing to be impressive. And I was choosing to try to create an image for myself that I thought other people wanted to see.
Wow.
And it was really through some humbling experiences that I've made a shift, and that the Lord has really led me into my life to make a shift to choose to be known. And part of our friendship, Duke, is the benefit of being known. So I think in leadership too, it's like when you choose to be known, you can gain the respect of the people that you work with, and you realize it's like a breath of fresh air when there's a lot of people in the market or in organizations that are trying to be impressive. And if you really want to make inroads towards meeting a goal, you choose to be known, you choose to be honest, and you can move forward from there. But our business is really just founded on one thing. Our mission is to be excellent in every aspect of buying, selling, and fixing used fire trucks. We have been able to grow substantially from our campus in Alabama. We now have facilities in Nevada and South Carolina and Alabama, and over a couple hundred employees, all fixated around being excellent buying, selling, and refurbishing fire trucks. In 2025, we sold over 600 trucks. We have over 1,200 trucks on our website right now. We have the nation's largest inventory. Our founder's vision, and he was a volunteer firefighter 25 years ago when he started the business, was really to offer volunteer fire departments a place where they could come and look at more than one used fire truck. So on our campus today, we've got a couple hundred units, and have just been able to continue to provide value in the market, and make a career out of it. Nobody goes into used fire truck sales to make money, but we have been able to provide for our families and provide a good service. And something that's unique about our business is that we actually have a lot of guys, a lot of mechanics, partsmen, even managers who are on the volunteer roster where our business sits in North Alabama, where our headquarters is. So we run an engine out of our headquarters, which is a little bit unique. We do.
That's fascinating.
We have our own engine. We have a command vehicle. When I first came to Brindlee, I got my EMT license just to run calls, and it enables us to kind of integrate and understand and relate to our customer base and what they're looking for. And nothing wins over a group more than when they come in to look at some used fire trucks, and we get toned out and they run a call and they get to be a part of that. So it's a really, really unique and special place. But ultimately, we're just trying to be excellent and provide some value to departments in the market.
Yeah, that's incredible. So do you ever still get to run calls? Like, sometimes our fire chief will show up and like ride backwards for a day just because, because he can. Do you ever do that?
I do.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. We probably run around 250 calls a year.
Okay.
Naturally, the majority of those calls are medical, but we've got multiple structure fires that we run every year. It's an underserved area in North Alabama, outside of Huntsville. It's not inside the city limits. But we call the engine 4 the dayside engine, because it runs kind of 9 to 5. That's who responds in that area. So we take a lot of pride in that, and it integrates the mission of our customers with what we're doing as well. It's a way to give back. Yeah,
it really keeps on brand. But that's an excellent opportunity to give back to your community and really make a place for the business. That's amazing.
And we always want to provide great opportunities for our employees too.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between being a heavy heavy truck shop mechanic, and then getting to come out to Brindlee and working with us as a mechanic, and then you get to be trained on fighting fire, and that just connects with a lot of hearts of young men who want to do something excellent. They want to do something challenging. They hear a call of manhood to give back to their community and do something physical, something that protects life. So
it's lasting.
It's lasting. It has
right.
a real impact in the community. And when we get to see someone who at one point thought that they would be just servicing a truck, end up on a volunteer fire department roster, get some medical training, and then respond to an accident on the highway and pull someone out of a car and see them get transported and see that their life was saved or injuries were saved and there were measures taken that would improve their future. It's an incredible tool for us to add that value to an employee's experience in their career.
Yeah, and I see that that sort of lasting nature in what we do because Peter and I both obviously like come from fire operations and kind of come through it and been passionate about that and the impact you can make in a community. And we've just found over the last few years how much more as we've moved into leadership that we're passionate about pouring into the guys around us and ladies around us in the fire service, and that if we can make things better for them and how they're doing business and how they're shaping the future of the fire service and how we get things done, that we can make everything better. And that's really our passion too, in building, as our good friend author Jared Vermeulen says, building a legacy in the fire service. And I think that's amazing to see how you're building a legacy in your company and in your community by doing that. I do want to pivot and talk a little bit about something that actually we haven't discussed, but it kind of occurred to me sitting here. I imagine in your business, COVID was probably an interesting time because we all dealt with and are still dealing with the effects of the supply chain and how long the waits are for apparatus. I imagine during COVID, you really probably saw a boon, but I'm not sure. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, COVID impacted a lot of different industries in different ways. Being in emergency services, we never had any restrictions on our ability to operate our plants, to service vehicles, to be physically present at our shop location. But COVID certainly brought some challenges and some questions in how we would respond to the market. You mentioned, lead times and costs. Like those things have certainly taken place. Some folks don't realize our supply side, so the way we received fire trucks, many times is through a trade. So a department buys a new fire truck. They want to get some value for the truck that they are no longer running or are moving out of reserve. So we place a value on that trade, and we become effectively like the CarMax for the used fire truck industry.
Yeah,
we'll be
happy to take CarMax's ad dollars if you want to continue to plug that.
So what I mean when it cuts both ways is we depend on the delivery of new fire trucks for us to increase our inventory, our used inventory, to sell those trucks. So like many factors in many products in the market, prices increase. We saw the demand for our used fire truck product increase. We were happy and to be able to provide as much of that product in the market that we could. Prices did increase. Also, the prices that we were then paying for used trucks increased. So it became prominently aware, or customers became aware in the market that they could no longer just do things exactly the way that they were doing and get the same result, which was enough fleet refreshment to only buy new custom fire trucks at a certain amount per year. When the leads increased, it became apparent that departments were now looking for a mixture of refurbishment, which was really almost a new product offering in the market, was to take a truck that's maybe 10 or 15 years old, completely refurbish it, and maybe for 50, 60% of the cost, give it 10 to 15 more years of useful life. Used fire trucks and a combination of new fire trucks. So we saw a different customer mix come into the market and look for different options, how to solve that problem. So COVID kind of created an environment where fire departments were looking for different avenues, different resources. And we always wanted to be a resource for the fire departments. That's kind of a mission from the beginning. So if we could help be a part of that solution, either through refurbishment or used trucks, or even referring to new truck resources where they could get what they needed, we wanted to do that. So it did impact us, but it wasn't all to the positive. It wasn't all to the negative. As a business leader, or as a manager, a leader, a project manager, you're always looking to respond and react to variables that you don't have control over.
Right.
We didn't have control over what was happening in the market. We didn't have control over price increases or lead times. So what we were continuously trying to do is look out the front window, see what adjustments we can make to continue to provide and add value to our customers, and do so in a way that was forward-thinking, maybe innovative, and did provide some of those solutions that they were looking for.
Yeah, that's really cool. I wonder, you and I were talking earlier, and you were talking about, you guys ship fire trucks all over the Western Hemisphere, not just the United States. I wonder if you could give us just a brief insight into what it's like trying to do business internationally in this industry.
Yeah.
Like shipping a fire truck to Puerto Rico sounds logistically like a pretty big lift.
Yeah.
So dealing with that complexity at scale in what you're doing, maybe tell us a little bit about that and what goes into something like that.
Yeah, Jim Collins has a thing that he calls the hedgehog principle when he thinks about business. So it's like, what does a hedgehog do? It does one thing really, really, really well. It's got one self-defense mechanism, and it knows what it is. So we apply that a little bit to logistics when we think of shipping trucks. We are in the buying, selling, and fixing truck business, and we intentionally make it very, very simple because we want everybody to know our mission. We partner as much as we can with companies that are excellent in what they do and tag on to that. If they understand what we're trying to do and we know that they're going to provide excellent service, there's a time when outsourcing is right, right? There's a time when you want to have control over what you're doing to give a customer the very best experience you possibly can. And there's a time to know, hey, there's a really excellent logistics company that we can outsource this to. They've got a great reputation. We've vetted them. And they can handle the logistics for moving a fire truck to ports from port A to port B. What does that look like? What does the insurance look like? What does the risk look like? And many times when you make those decisions on maybe long hauls, or if there's a financial risk, or if you think in the fire service there's an operational risk to life and safety, how are you going to mitigate that risk?
Right.
You're never going to get to the point in what you do that risk is zero, right? I mean, so you're always thinking, what can I do? What steps can I take? What planning can I be proactive in and reduce that risk? So for our business, when we move trucks, when we ship things, when we go international, we think about the risk, we insure the risk, and we take any steps that we can to mitigate that risk. And in the United States, we've got an incredible advantage. We are very used to and accustomed to working with companies that operate in integrity, with departments that operate in integrity, with customs that operate with integrity. So you expect if someone's in a uniform, or if they're with Customs and Border Patrol, or you're importing something, for the U.S. to treat them fairly. If you play by the rules, if you provide the right paperwork, if you have the right insurance, they're going to treat you fairly. And sometimes when you're dealing with international customers, that's not always the case.
Yeah, it's just cultural difference.
There are cultural differences that we have the benefit of in the U.S. that are often taken for granted and overlooked. But when you start doing business in Central America and South America, we see that pop up from time to time.
That's really interesting. I'm glad that you spoke so eloquently about risk. Something that Peter and I talk a lot about when we're doing projects is always trying to make sure we're doing really thorough risk analysis for our department, because that's the stuff that'll come up and bite you if you don't account for it and you don't plan to mitigate it. And so that's really, really great advice. So I want to be super respectful of your time. I know you got to get on the road today, and I hope you have safe travels home. But maybe just give us an outlook on what's next for Brindlee Mountain and what's next for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an honor. I've seen what you guys are doing, what you're building towards. Looking forward to the book coming out. It's going to be awesome. Really look forward to it. What's next for Brindlee Mountain? We exist in an industry that is relatively known. There are a limited number of new trucks sold in the U.S. There's a secondary market to that we get to be a part of. We're very, very excited about rolling out some new technology that's going to benefit customers and how they are able to operate in our marketplace online for it to be much, much easier to transact. Sometimes a barrier of entry for making a transaction is just the difficulty of the paperwork. How do I move this asset from point A to point B? How do we do the title work? So we are always thinking kind of customer facing. What's going to make our customer give them the very best experience? We've done that through hospitality and culture and excellence and like white glove service for a long time. But we are excited this year to roll out some new tools online, brand new website, and some of the things that are going to benefit our customers. We're also enhancing our refurbishment capacity, which again is like trying to meet a demand in the market for apparatus at a shorter period of time.
Right.
Someone's got a truck that is a great truck. They like it. For whatever reason, it fits their configuration. Maybe they spec'd it out. It's exactly the way they want the layout. So we're building our capacity for that refurbishment in the future. So very excited about that. What's next for us? We are excited to continue to do what we do. We don't have ambitions to go outside of the fire industry. This is the industry that we love. And we continue to operate in it for a very, very long time. And we just want to continue to be excellent for our customers, improve their experience, and grow in the markets that we're already in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the industry needs that. So I'm really appreciative of your leadership there, man. And like I said, thank you again for coming on. It's been great to connect in person again for the first time in a little while. And hopefully we can do this again soon, man.
I would love that.
Yeah. Once again, Nate Smith, Brindlee Mountain Fire Apparatus.
Sweet. Thanks, guys.